Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Getting Started with Elite Dangerous. My name is Commander Flappers, and today we'll be covering exploration. Now, my apologies for getting this video out so late into the series, but exploration is quite a difficult one to cover. As such, this is a post-audio production, meaning that I've done some recording of the video first and I'm adding the audio after the game. The reason for this is because there are a lot of numbers and a lot of information associated with the game that I need to refer to my notes on, and it's hard to do so while I'm actually trying to play the game, and it's just easier to be able to show you guys what I'm talking about as I'm talking about it. Anyway, without further ado, what I'm going to do is cover a few different topics. First of all, what you'll need to do exploring, like recommended equipment, and generally what you can earn out of exploring and the different values of different systems, and obviously how to actually scan these systems as well. So let's get started. The very first thing that you will need to consider is actually the main equipment for exploration. You will need three main things. One is a ship, obviously, to get around the systems. A fuel scoop, because when you're out further into the galaxy, there's not going to be any stations, especially if you're on the outer rings or even deep in the center. You won't find any civilization or any outposts or anything to refuel. So a good fuel scoop is highly recommended. And you'll also need a discovery scanner of sorts. You start off with the basic discovery scanner, move on to intermediate, and then advanced. We'll be covering those three different types a bit later. Okay, so for recommended ships. Now, I recommend a choice between two ships. One is the Hauler. This has a jump range of up to 30 light years, which is quite a distance. Obviously, you need to start cutting off like cargo holds. Basically, you need to cut the weight down as minimum as possible in order to jump the furthest. Again, all you really need is a discovery scanner, a fuel scoop, and maybe something small to defend yourself. But the more you add to it, the less you're going to be able to jump. So as I said, the Hauler jumps up to 30 light years. And the second ship is an ASP. The ASP can jump up to 35 light years. It's a lot more robust than the Hauler. It's a lot more expensive than the Hauler. But you can jump further, you can defend yourself easier. And generally, it's just a better ship for the job. But again, it's a lot more expensive. So you need to have some credit balance to be able to maintain that ship. Now, for the purpose of this video, I will be running it around in a Cobra because I don't particularly really want to spend another 2.5 million or so on setting up another ship just for the video. But just for the purpose of this video, my Cobra is absolutely fine. You can start off obviously in a Sidewinder and just work your way up as you earn more and more money. But again, those two ships that I mentioned are the recommended ships for this type of exploration. Okay, so for recommended equipment. Now, as I mentioned before, you need a decent fuel scoop, because without a decent fuel scoop, you'll find yourself being stranded. If you run out of fuel, that basically means self-destruct, and you'll then have to pay out the insurance on your ship to be able to, get it back. And that's just going to be a massive loss of money, a massive loss of time. So make sure you have a Class A fuel scoop. I'm actually using, I believe, it's a Class B fuel scoop. But you really need to start looking at getting the best fuel scoop out there in order to maintain your fuel levels, because again, the further out you go, there's not going to be any outposts or anything to refuel on. So a fuel scoop is an absolute necessity. The next thing you need to look at is a frameshift drive. You need a better frameshift drive for obvious reasons, so you can travel further using less fuel. I don't really need to go too much onto that, but again, you just need a bigger and better frameshift drive for obvious reasons. Now, you can get onto shields. I don't recommend carrying shields because shields are quite heavy and it will reduce the amount of jump distance that you can actually travel. But if you want that added protection against pirates and other players, then I would, start considering having a shield generator. It's really up to you. If you want to jump further for less fuel, then don't carry one. If you want to have that protection, it's your decision. It's just my recommendation is to not carry one. And of course, you need to have the main tools to be able to scan these systems. Now, to start off, you have three types of scanners. You have a basic discovery scanner, which scans up to 500 light seconds around you in a circle. You have an intermediate scanner, which has a range of 1000 light seconds, again in a radius around you. And then you have the advanced scanner, which scans everybody within the system that you're in. So you don't need to travel anywhere in the system to be able to scan the entire system. It just has like an infinite range. That's why it's very expensive. I believe the costs associated with them are basic discovery scanners around 10,000. Intermediate, I really can't remember. I think it's around 50 to 100,000. And then you got the advanced scanner, which is about 1.5 million. So you can see the huge difference in price there with the three different types of scanners. The advanced scanner, it saves a lot of time, especially if you're using, say, for a basic discovery scanner and you have no idea where these planetary bodies are. You're going to find yourself wandering in a direction looking for the planets when they could be on the other end of the solar system. So having an advanced discovery scanner would really benefit you as an explorer, because it will save you time and it will show you where all the planets are within the system so you can run further scans on them. And then finally you have the detailed surface scanner. Now the detailed surface scanner runs on top of your normal scanners, so it won't work on its own. You need to have either a basic, intermediate or an advanced scanner with it. What it does, it scans the body that you have selected for further information. It tells you what kind of planet it is, what riches it has on there, the mass, the size, the everything basically about that planet. So if you open up, for example, the solar system in your system view, you can see all the detailed planetary informations. The detailed surface scanner actually gets all that information for you. And when it comes to actually selling off your cartographics, the detailed surface scanner will actually at least doubles the payout per body that you're actually selling on the cartographic. So it's definitely worth looking at getting if you want to have some decent profits when exploring. Okay, so now that we talked about the recommended requirements to do some scanning, let's go over some hard numbers. Now this is going to be a little bit complicated. If you want to stay with me, I'll put the numbers up on the screen and in the description as well, and the source of where I've actually obtained this information from. So you've got different types of stars, different types of planets, and different types of entities basically within space. Let's start off with the stars. Now the stars have different sizes and different weights, and there's different types of stars, and each star has a different value. You're going to be looking at around, per star, 1,200 credits up to around 3,400 credits for the larger stars, but most of them are always around 1,200 credits. Now the actual star types, you're looking at around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 star types, or 10 star classes, and they start off from low to high. And so let's start up the lowest. It's Y, T, L, M, K, G, F, A, B, and O. Now that's lowest to highest. So if you're looking around for different systems for maximum profits, you really want to start looking at the O class stars, because they're actually going to provide the most profit when scanning. You also have different temperature bonuses. So the hotter the star, the more riches you get from it. Again, the size bonus, everything all adds up. So the sizes, the temperature, the class itself, and everything adds up to actually have a decent amount of value. And then you move on to planets. Now you've got small planets such as high metal content. That's around 2,000 to 4,000 credits. An icy planet is around 300 to 800 credits. Metal rich is around 4,100 to 6,000 credits. A rocky ice planet is around 400 to 500 credits. And just a rocky planet is around 300 to 400 credits. So what you want to be looking at is systems that, kind of within the habitable zone. I don't know if you know about the habitable zone around solar systems, but they're likely to have such things like Earth-like worlds, because Earth-like worlds are around 28,000 to 31,000 planets, 28,000 to 31,000 credits. They are worth quite a lot of money, so if you can find them, they'll definitely add to the total amount of credits that you're going to receive when selling your cartographics. And then you have like other types of planets like water worlds. You've got different types of water worlds. You've got noble water worlds with around 10,000 to 14,000. Then you've got water worlds which have a candidate for terraforming, which is around 22,000 to 30,000 credits. So as you can see, each body has a different type of what's the word I'm looking for? Description. And they have different properties which all add together to the total amount that you're going to be able to achieve when selling off your cartographic. So that's the best thing to do, is to really go out as far as possible and start looking into systems where you don't think other people have been, because you'd be surprised at what you can actually find. Going into systems which just has like maybe 2 stars and a moon somewhere, you're not going to get much money from it unless it's going to be a decent star. But again, you want to start looking for those decent solar systems with a lot of planets. That's what, again, comes back to having the advanced discovery scanner, so you're not flying around aimlessly in the solar system looking for planets that aren't actually there. And moving on from normal planets, you go on to gas giants, and gas giants have different properties in themselves. It's not just one property as the gas giant. You've got class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4 with water-based life, and they all have different properties associated with them. Again, that adds to different values of what you're going to achieve when you scan them. So for example, your class 1 gas giant is going to net you around 1,000 to 2,000. Class 2 is 5,000 to 6,000, a class 3 is 700 to 1,200, and class 4 is 700 to 1,200 again. And then you've got water-based life, it's an extra 500 to 1,000, and with ammonia-based life, is an extra 500 to 1,000. So even the gas giants themselves have their own properties, which is worth its own credit in itself. And then finally, we move on to like stellar remnants, which are things that are in space and that are very pretty, like black holes and nebulas and stuff. So if you look at black holes, if you manage to scan a black hole, you're looking at an extra 20,000 to 23,000 credits. Neutron stars are around 18,000 to 20,000 credits, and white dwarfs are around 9,000 to 13,000 credits. And then added on top, you got protostars, which like a T-Taurus protostar is around 1,200 credits, and there's different ones which are currently unknown at this time. So I think that pretty much covers most of it. Again, I'll put all the details in the description, and they should be on your screen as well while I'm typing, so I've got to do some editing after this. And I'll also provide the link to where I'm getting the source of information from, so you can see it for yourself. As an extra note, you do have systems with asteroid belts and basically where people go to mine. You can scan them, but they will not add anything to your credits. So you got rings around planets. Don't bother scanning them, because it's just a waste of time, because you're not actually going to get anything from them. And you also have different clusters, which are mainly around the actual star itself, and then the solar system. It will come up as like unscanned, but you'll be able to see the little icon, where you got like the picture of the little icon of the planet just to the bottom left of your radar. Don't bother scanning them again, because they're not worth anything either. So it's just a complete waste of time. Okay, so now that we got those numbers out of the way, let's have a look at actually scanning and how it actually works. So when you have your scanner, be it a basic, intermediate, or advanced discovery scanner, you need to assign that to a fire group. So it works just like any normal kind of weapon that you use, but you use it within Supercruise itself. So you don't have to deploy your hardpoints. You can just literally assign it to a group, assign it a number, and then use that trigger while you're in Supercruise. You won't be able to use it while you're in normal space, because there's no point, because you're in normal space. You only use it when you're in Supercruise. The best time is just after you enter a system. You hold down that scan button, wait for it to complete, and then if you're using the advanced discovery scanner, for example, all the planets will pop up on your radar and the system will be populated, so you can actually view how many planets are there and the different entities for you to scan. It's really simple, and the same works with the basic scanner, where you hold down the trigger, it will make a vroom sound, and it will show you all the bodies within 500 light seconds around you. If nothing comes up, then you'll need to move further away from the star in a direction. The direction's up to you. Again, you don't really have any idea of where to go. You just keep flying and you keep scanning until things pop up. And then we move, once you have all the planets, or you think you have all the planets in the system, you then need to run a detail surface scan. So the detail surface scan is actually automatic. The first thing you should actually scan is the star itself. So once you landed, just throttle down to 0 and look at the star. Target it like as you would target anything else. And then at the bottom left, you will see it will say scanning, and it's making like a scanning sound in the background. And then once it's complete, it will say at the top right, detail surface scan complete. And it will have all the information about the body that you just scanned. Now the same applies to everything else. It's not just the star. You do it with the planets and the moons and everything else that you can see. The range of the detailed surface scan depends on the actual size of the body itself that you're scanning. So you could have a planet that scans within 100 light seconds away. That's because it's a huge planet. If the planet's a lot smaller, then you'll need to get closer to be able to scan it. So that's generally the essence of scanning. So as you're going on and on and on, you're scanning more and more and more. You get as much detail as possible about the system in question, and then you move on to the next system. You don't just go back and sell. No, you want to keep moving on, keep moving on. You just go into the far depths of space and you just keep scanning. When you land in a system, the first thing you actually want to do is actually fuel scoop, because you just jump to distance, regardless of how much that distance is. You need to top up on fuel before you start running out. So you fuel scoop to back up to full, and then you start doing your scanning. Because in Super Cruise, you do use fuel, but you won't use as much fuel as the hyperspace jumping. So the best thing to do is just to fuel scoop, get back up to full, and then do all your scanning. Once all your scanning's done, you move on to the next system. And the best thing to do really is to plan a route of really where you want to go, and go like in a big circle, or have like a destination in mind, and you go, oh, I'm starting here, I want to go all the way over here, but I'm going to travel through all these unknown systems and scan them. So that's generally it. There's it's not really much more to it when it comes to exploring. It's just literally managing your fuel, knowing what and where to scan, and then knowing how to sell. So once we've done that, let's have a look at actually selling your cartographics. So once you have all the cartographics that you want to sell with you, you need to travel at least 20 light years away from the system that you just scanned, or the systems that you just scanned, and you will not be able to sell them within 20 light years. The distance to travel with your cartographic does not make any change on the amounts that you're going to be given. So you could say you travel 10 light years away from the system that you just scanned, and you docked, and you can see that your cartographic is worth 20,000 credits, but it's grayed out because you need to be at least 20 light years away. That 20,000 credits will not change regardless if you go an extra 20 light years or an extra 100 light years. It will always remain 20,000 credits, unless you go back to the system and scan more if you miss something. So the distance you travel does not affect the amount of credits that you're going to earn. It's like a really big thing you need to remember here. So I just want to reiterate that you're not traveling ridiculous distances in order to try and get more money. It doesn't work like that. So once you've landed in a system at a station where you can sell your cartographics, it's literally you go into the Universal Cartographics, and then you select your system that you just scanned, and you click sell. And that's pretty much it. And then it will add it to your credit balance. And just one other thing to add to this, it will increase your reputation. So if you're selling all these star systems to a specific faction, it will increase your faction reputation. So if you're trying to score high with the Federation, don't go to an Empire station and sell, because you're going to be raising your reputation with the Empire rather than the Federation. So, but as an explorer, traveling distances to different places to sell shouldn't be much of an issue for you. I mean, you just traveled the depthness of space. So anyway, I think that's pretty much covers everything that I wanted to cover. Apologies if I'm sounding a little bit off today. I'm in a lot of pain because I've done my back in on the weekend. So if you have any questions or comments or anything, if you want to add more to this, because exploring is quite in depth when it comes to all these different numbers and everything, feel free to leave a comment below. Again, I'll try to respond to as much as I can. I think that's pretty much it. So as always, fly safe.